into today. So today, what I want to do for this call is I want to give some ladies a reality check. I want to slap you across the face with some reality so we can be on planet Earth and realize everything's okay and know what to do going forward. So there's a couple ladies who I've been talking to who are going through what I call the shitstorm in life right now. And sometimes, you know, like compassion is good. Sometimes tough love is good. I want to do like a combination of those today. So it'll be a reality check for you. So somebody needs to hear this, okay? So I want to ask you some questions. And you can answer in the comments if you want. You can answer out loud. You can shake your head or no, up to you. But I just want to get the juices flowing here. So question number 1. Do you think you can be healthy without exercising or intentionally fitting in activity? No, absolutely not. Very good. Easy first question. Next question. Do you think you can be healthy without meal prepping or planning or being prepared with your food? Absolutely not. Right. Do you think you can be healthy without help? Absolutely not. No way. Whatever that help looks like, friends, family, coach, a video, some type of help. You can't do it alone. Do you think you can be healthy if you complain about how many things there are to be healthy to do? Do you think you could be healthy if you complained about how many things it took to be healthy? Probably not. Right? And do you think you can be healthy if you're always making excuses about how hard it is? Do you think you got a chance? Absolutely not. Right? So we just touched base there with the bare minimums on how to be healthy. And it seems like for the most part, we're all in agreement, right? We all are fairly on the same page. We agree. So just to recap, ladies, this is what we all just agreed on. So number 1, if you want to be healthy, fully healthy, you know, mind, body, relationship, soul, everything. If you want to be healthy, you have to incorporate some type of activity and exercise. You have to, right? Non-negotiable. And guess what that means? To do that, it requires extra time and extra effort, right? Extra time and extra effort. Now, we also agreed that you need some planning when it comes to your food, right? You got to have some intentions, right? Knowing, you know, roughly how you're going to eat, the portions you're going to eat to some degree, which means your food is going to require, guess what? Extra time and extra effort, right? And we also agreed that you couldn't do it without help. So you need some type of help to be healthy. Whether, you know, you get a full-on coach, you have a friend that keeps you accountable, you know, your spouse is on board making it a little easier for you. You know, you watch motivational YouTube videos, some outside help. We need that, right? And guess what? That's also going to require extra time set aside and a little extra energy and effort, right? Seeing a theme here? We also talked about complaining, right? Complaining about, I have to do this, I have to get this done, this needs to get done, right? Complaining takes energy and effort, right? And you might as well save that energy and effort and put it towards what you know you should be doing. And so fighting your urge to want to complain, because it's a natural urge, fighting that urge also takes time and effort. And then, of course, excuses, right? The excuses of, it's so hard. It's so hard. How can I keep going? Right? Those excuses take away time from you. If we live in those excuses, we pass time. We miss it. We miss out. Right? So to fight our natural excuses, which we've built up and convinced ourselves are true for years, right? We've all got those handful of ones. To fight the excuses, also takes extra time, and you guessed it, extra effort. So there is a theme here. And then, of course, the question I need to ask you, do you think you can be healthy without failing? No. Exactly. So if you want to be healthy, you better, pull those big girl panties up and be ready for some failures. You're going to fail. In fact, it's almost impossible. It is impossible to not fail along your health and weight loss journey, because failure means you were missing something. Failure means you didn't know something, right? That's what failure means. It means you didn't know something, so something else happened or didn't happen. In fact, if there was no failure, that means you would have nothing to lose, right? Because you know everything. You'd already know everything. But if you already knew everything, you wouldn't have got in this position in the first place. So now we know that failure is a must if you want to be healthy. And guess which one of those takes the most amount of time and most amount of effort and energy to get through? It's the failure. That takes a lot of time to recoup from a failure. Physically, and of course, mentally getting over it. And it requires a lot of energy and effort from either stopping altogether or trying to find our spark and momentum again. So after all of that, ladies, guess what we do? Guess what we can agree on? It takes a lot of time and energy and effort to be healthy, correct? So here's the funny thing. We know this. We just really laid it out super clearly, right? Of course, to do these things, I have to do these things. And I can't cheat my way around it. There's no quick fix. There's no way to skip the ABC. We can't go from A to Z. We need to go from A to B, B to C, right? So time and effort is a given. And you know that. You totally know that, right? We know that going into this, you're going to put time and effort. But here's the funny thing. Whenever it becomes inconvenient to find time, or when it becomes very hard to get in, to squeeze out effort of yourself for whatever reason, in that moment, we think something's wrong, right? In that moment, our brain is telling us, this isn't working. This isn't right. Maybe we should give up. Am I ever going to do this? In the moment when we are required to keep putting in time and effort, like we know we are supposed to, we forget. We forget, right? And in fact, when it gets hard, that means you're in the right place, because you're about to learn something and you're about to be tested and you're given an opportunity to put in the time and effort when it is inconvenient. And if you want to fast track this goal, and if you want to go faster than anybody else has along this journey, you put in that extra time and that effort when it's the hardest to do so. Not when life is fairly simple and you're coasting. Because most people start a weight loss journey because they're in a place where they can. And then along that journey at some point, life tells you, you probably can't. Maybe you should stop, right? But that's a hint. That is a cue. That is a sign to think back to this very coaching call, ladies, and say, oh, that's what Coach Maddie was talking about. All I need on this journey is to acknowledge that it takes extra time and extra effort. And there's no way around that. There's no way around. It doesn't matter what different plan you try or program you get pulled into, or you're intrigued by the next fad diet. It doesn't matter. If you want this, if you want true health and freedom and confidence and happiness and fulfillment, it requires extra effort. But then when it comes time to put your money where your mouth is, we can't do it. Or we fight it. We fight it, don't we? I really have to measure my food. I really have to work out at the end of the day after my 12-hour shift. Yeah, you really do. You really do. Now, you're not going to win this fight every time. And it's not always super, super hard to the point where you have to talk yourself up like you're walking uphill the entire journey. It's not. But when it does feel like you're walking uphill, and we think for a second like it's too hard, we can't carry this load, and something's wrong with us, that is your sign that you need to keep putting in some effort, and you need to sit down and you need to make time for these things. If it is important to you, if the fact that you not reaching your goal is upsetting you enough to make you not want to try anymore, that should be enough evidence that you need to keep trying. If you not reaching your goal is upsetting you, guess how upset you would be if you just stopped? Can you even imagine? 10 years from now, if you stopped trying today and never did again, where would you be in 10 years? I don't even know if you'd be here. Right? So it's crazy. So this is I'm shaking you, ladies. I'm shaking you. And I want you to know this requires your time and your effort and your energy. And not just when you have those freely to give. This requires your time when you can't find any. This requires your time when you're booked solid with life. This requires your energy when you're tired and frustrated and upset and just want to go to bed or just want to eat away our feelings. It requires these two things of you, effort and time. Why, when it comes time to do those things, when it gets hard, we back out. That is when it counts the most. That is when you will make the most progress. And that is what you signed up for. You signed up to achieve something you've never achieved before, which means you're a beginner. So why would it come naturally? Why would it become easy to force yourself to fit it in your schedule? Why would it become easy to say no, to make time to meal prep when all you want to do is veg out? Right? It's not easy for you. It does get easier. But you, in that storm that feels like maybe you can't even ever pass it, in the storm is when you need to realize that this is the opportunity to really show yourself what you're made of. Time and effort, ladies. Did I put in effort today? Did I make time today for me, for my health? Answer that question. Did I put in effort? Now that's a scale, right? Did I put in the max amount of effort I was capable of today? Ask yourself that. The answer is yes, amazing. The answer is no, guess what? You have tomorrow. And then you have the day after that. You can keep trying. You can always turn it around. You can always have a better day. But don't let that moment of when it feels too hard, because you really just can't find it in you to put in the effort and put in the time one more time. That's when you need to the most. And I want you to know this, because when it seems dark, when you seem, like you just can't get your stuff together, when you feel like it's just not aligning, and maybe this journey isn't for you, when you feel that way, I'm telling you, there's nothing else to do. There's nothing else to do. It will not come easy. How could it? When you haven't been doing it most of your life, or at least recently. So if you want the rainbows, ladies, you gotta put up with the rain. You can't run inside every time that there's rain. You will miss the rainbows. And if you miss the rainbows, you're never going to want to go outside. And you'll never will. So you miss everything, good and bad. But if you stick through it in the rain, in that bad, you will find good. But if you hide from it, if you turn away, if you give up every time it really sucks. Like really sucks. I'm not talking you had a bad day or a bad week. You're really struggling. If you give up then, when things get better, because they always do, you will kick yourself. You will kick yourself that you couldn't just hold on for a little longer. There's always a light. You will always get through it. And you will be better because of it. I don't care what it is. You will be better because of it. And that is a choice. Because it might not feel like it sometimes. But we just went through it, step by step. Make time for exercise. Make time to better your relationship with food. Make time for the support you need along the way. Make time to fight those complaints and fight those excuses. It requires effort of you. You cannot be passively healthy. You cannot be passively healthy. If your spouse needed extra attention from you and you didn't feel like it, you're putting the marriage at risk because you don't feel like it. Same with your job. If you've got a deadline and you don't feel like it, you're putting your job at risk. Why do we not do that with everything else except our health? Don't put your health at risk just because you don't feel like it right now. You won't feel like it about 50% of the time. Legitimately, I swear, that's like a scientific fact somewhere. You're not gonna feel like it 50% of the time. So if you give in to that 50%, then you've only been good 50%. You've only been healthy for 50% of the year. And 50% and 50% cancel each other out. So year after year, you will end up in the exact same place. If you don't learn to strengthen your follow-through muscle, build up the calluses on your mind, and put in some type of energy and effort, when it is hard to do so, when you have absolutely nothing left to give, or you think you are not strong enough, the answer is make time and put in more effort. Even when you can't possibly fathom that you're capable of that. Even if the life that you've built is pure chaos and you have everybody relying on you, everybody else is taking up your time and your energy, you still need to find time and energy for yourself. Period. No ifs, ands, or buts. What that looks like will change as your ability to cope will change. But there's no excuse. Everybody's busy. Everybody's tired. Everybody has the same 24 hours in a day. If you built a life that's making this hard, that is on you. But guess what? The good news is it's also on you because you got the power to change it and adjust it and shape it into what you want it to be. Just because your life is chaotic and hectic and maybe people are bad influences and you're struggling doesn't mean your lifestyle, your household, your mind, none of it is permanent. None of it is permanent. So get out of that self-pitying attitude where we think, woe is me, what's wrong with me? Nothing is wrong with you. You're going to an excuse. You're hiding behind a feeling when the answer is just do a little more. Do a little more. Especially when you're tired. Especially when you're bored or uninterested or uninspired. Those are all 50% emotions. They're coming. Are you in them or are they about to come? Because they'll be here. You need to accept them. Do not fight this journey, ladies. Do not fight it. Oh, why do I have to meal prep? Why do I have to work out? Why do I have to attend the coaching calls? Right? We say it sometimes. Why do I have to do this? Because you do. I'm like a parent. Because I said so. Right? Because you have to. That's what it takes. And you all agreed at the beginning of this call. That's what it takes. So why are you backing out when you know that's what it takes when it gets hard? Really think about that. You all agreed it's going to take that X, Y, and Z, blood, sweat, and tears, elbow grease. That's what it takes. And in the hard moment, we don't do much of that because it's even harder to do. So I want you to, number one, ladies, accept that this journey has no shortcuts. Stop racing somewhere. Accept it. And then you will enjoy your habits that you're forming instead of resent them as work. There is extra effort, but if you enjoy what you do, or there's rewards in what you do, we don't hate it. We can talk ourselves into it more. So accept your journey for being full of extra time and extra effort. And then look at your journey as something worth fighting for and continuing through all of the phases. When you're in that down, think back to this call. When you're feeling down, whether a little down or really down and out, just come back. Just listen. It means you're doing something right. You said it yourself. You cannot be healthy without failing. That's the truth. That's the one thing I know for certain. You cannot do this without sucking, and then sucking some more, and then sucking a lot, and then one day you suck a little less. But you got to make it there first. And you got to put in the effort now, or we'll bite you in the butt later. It only gets harder. You think it's hard now. Think to your darkest moment, your hardest moment, your most challenging moment, maybe when you wanted to give up. You thought that was hard? Just wait. That's nothing. You can do it. You can get through that. It only gets 1,000 times harder if you don't learn to work through that now. Build up those calluses on your brain. Accept it. Catch yourself. Do not speak negatively about this journey. Do not complain about the things you have to do. You don't have to do them. Don't lie to yourself. You are choosing to do them because they are the right thing to do. Do not start associating negative feelings with good, healthy habits, or you will slowly resent this journey, and it gets even harder to get yourself back on track and put in the time. You won't want to put in the time, right? There's a difference between not feeling like putting in the time and then concretely not wanting to. We don't want to get there. You don't want to get there. You got to enjoy the journey. Not, oh my God, I'm in love. Yay, I love meal prepping. I love taking an hour out of my day to cut broccoli. No, you don't have to fall in love with that stuff. But you do have to fall in love with taking care of yourself. Fall in love with taking care of you. You have no idea what you're capable of when you give yourself the love you deserve. And you have no idea how much love you can give until you've taken care of yourself. Please do not look for a cheat code to this. There's not one. You can't not do everything we just talked about. You can't. You can't not do it. Doesn't work. We already decided that. So now we're in agreement. You got to do it. Don't complain about doing it. Maybe a couple times it slips out. We're human. But recondition. I'm blessed that I can afford groceries. I'm blessed that my knees work and I can do a workout. Every negative thought, counter it with a positive or a neutral. So we don't build up resentment. Because it is hard. And nobody, and if they do lie to you, they're full of shit. It's not easy. It's hard. And there's good days, bad days, good weeks, bad weeks, good months, bad months, medium months. It's part of the journey. It's part of it. You cannot be healthy without failure. When you're failing, stop wishing you weren't. It needs to happen so you can get through it and go back to your good. Stop wishing you weren't where you are. Focus on what you need to do. And plain and simple, you haven't been given the time, you haven't been putting in the effort. That's the answer. Did I work my hardest today with what I was capable of? That's up for you to decide. Did I make time today? Even a little bit of time? Or did I let life pass me by, get too busy, and say I'll push it off to tomorrow? Right? You know that answer. All I'm asking is little time. Right? Little time, especially when it is those dark moments. Little time, little effort. And don't resent the time and don't resent the effort you have to put in for this. Because that's one way to not want to do this real quick. And one way to spiral very quickly. It's one thing to fail, it's another thing to spiral. We don't need to spiral. Spiraling is your perspective on the situation. So if you want that rainbow, you got to put up with the rain. And if we got to put up with the rain, you might as well enjoy the rain and not complain about being wet the whole time. Right? So sit with that. I don't know who needed to hear that. I know somebody did in a bad place. So use it. Get out of your head. Get out of your excuses. Realize that that's what this journey is. And you got those two things to do all the time. Ask yourself when you wake up, what does time, what does effort look like to me today? And then you make yourself proud. You build up small wins. When you fall, you can catch yourself because the answer is always effort and time. And that's the key, ladies. Don't fight the journey. Don't cut the journey. Don't cheat the journey. Don't fast track the journey. No cheat codes. It's not a video game. It's real life. All right, ladies? So take that. Think about it. This will resonate with some of you more than others, depending on where you are mentally in your journey right now. But you are worth it, and you are strong enough. And you can always work harder, and you can always make more time and find time, and you can always change your circumstance. Nothing is permanent. Just as quickly as you can feel bad, you can feel good. Nothing is permanent.